Art of Whiskey back here, and again, man, shout out to Richard. Richard's got not just a wealth of knowledge, but tons of experience and a true passion and affinity for whiskey, and the dude literally gets goosebumps. Follow the Whiskey Blendery to see his goosebumps, and you see it on the Whiskey Blendery's YouTube as well, which is our second home. Technically my first home. This is my second home. But at anywho, Richard, you brought some bottles today. You said they were fantastic. Walk us through why you purchased these, or if they were given to you, or what you like about them, and how the consumer might, fall in love with them or hate them.
Sure.
Go ahead, man. Fill us in.
So the reason I brought them really was because each one had something on the label that I thought would be good for our talk. But like this bottle, I think this was the Remus that had the oldest components of the blend so far. So a lot of people chased the version 5. So I bought a couple of them because I just, and everyone was right. And when I opened it, I loved it. And so I have this one and I have one tucked away back at home. I bought this one because I love Cahuilla, and generally Cahuilla is owned by Diageo. So most of the stuff that you're going to get from them isn't at a barrel strength. So you have to get, if you want something that's like a single barrel from them, you're going to have to generally rely on stuff that independent bottlers release. And so this is a nice age statement, and it was a good price, and I noticed that it was barrel strength and like no chill filtration on the label, and so I picked it up, and I'm very happy with it so far. Russell's Reserve 13, I bought this because these are, I'll buy every one of these I can find at retail. I'll buy a case if I can find one at retail. Yeah, they're fantastic. Now they've gone up. This one was a couple years back, and I want to say I got it for like, I don't know, maybe $120 or $80 or something like that. I want to say they're like $180 now. So it's harder to say I buy a case, I guess, but fantastic bourbon. And then this is a Rossville Union, so it's I think it's a 95.5 rye, but it might be, I'm pretty sure it's a 95.5 rye, and it's a single barrel pick, and it's great.
There we have it, man. Well, let's take a little swig of this, man.
Sure.
And walk them through tasting notes and all the stuff that you get. Which one would you start somebody with?
I think this will be a good one to start with, just because it's a nice round bourbon, and it's 50%, so it won't rip anybody's face off. The rye is bottled in bond too, so that's 50%, but it's a little bit spicier.
That's good. How long should we let this sit before we get into it? I smell the sweetness on it.
I think the oldest thing in here might be 14 or 15. I'd have to look at it. But the bottle's also been opened, so that helps. What I like to do with stuff like that is kind of maybe do a little bit bigger of a pour and sip after a few minutes, but make sure I also have one sip at 15 minutes, you know what I mean, still? But yeah, just nice sweet
is that a rye?
oak. No, this is a bourbon.
Sheesh.
But it is a higher rye content than a lot of bourbons.
Interesting, because I taste a little bit of the spice.
The Indiana bourbons generally have more rye in them than most of the Kentucky bourbons.
What? So to be clear, every one of the, like 2005 through 6, you said this is what's all in there, right? Mm-hmm. So you got 21, 36, 21, 21, 36. All of those are ryes, right?
No, I think they're telling you the ratio of the blend.
Oh, so the ratio of the rye. So if you double up, that's a lot of rye in there.
Oh no, you're right. So those are the mash bills. So it's the whole blend is 9% of a bourbon from 2005. And that 2005 bourbon was their 21% rye mash bill bourbon. So they have two different bourbons. One is a 21, well, they have more than two different bourbons, but for the purposes of this label, they have a 21% rye bourbon and a 36% rye bourbon. The 36% rye bourbon has more rye in it. Even 21% rye is their low rye, but even by most standards, that's still somewhat of a high rye.
That is, man. That is, because I know for a fact. I was like, you sure? I was like, it's got some rye. I'm like, I'm looking like I know for a fact the rye is in this because it's slicing me up. That's not a bad thing, but I could smell that or taste it for damn sure.
Yeah. Like my Wild Turkey's bill would have less rye than that. I think both of the Buffalo Trace bills would probably have less rye than that, but I don't know. They don't tell you. But just going off taste, Four Roses has one that's higher.
I'm gonna do a, here, hand me that brown cup up there.
You're gonna do a personal blend?
I'm gonna do a dump. That's because I'm gonna just taste some and then pour the last, all of it.
You were the fan, huh? It's there's a lot of oak on it.
I get frosted flakes on the nose.
Yeah.
I couldn't shake it.
That's another thing is some people don't love a lot of oak, and some people chase a lot of oak. But when sometimes it's drying, sometimes it can be astringent.
Yeah,
sometimes people love it, and other people like it's a deal breaker for them. This has a fair bit of oak on it.
Yeah, and that's kind of it's kicking. I'm gonna tell you that it is rocking, man. Now, what's our next one? Rich got to go through every cup, so I'm like, let me get him.
Well, this is gonna have a fair bit of oak as well, because this is a 13-year-old bourbon.
Let me try it.
Yeah,
that'll be the same one because he's like, man, these are kind of oaky, huh?
Yeah,
okie dokie.
It's funny. I brought this one for the age statement. And that might be what you don't care about.
Oh
one?
yeah, I can smell that motherfucking oak.
Yeah, people chase these.
So what is it? What about the oak that they're chasing, man?
Oh well, they're not just chasing this for the oak, but a lot of people love that bourbon in that age range. And like I said, 13 is the youngest stuff that's in here. I think there's like 15 or 16-year-old stuff in there too. See, again, too much oak. Yeah,
it tastes like a bitter cacao or chocolate chip that ain't been cooked or sweetened.
Yeah.
So it's not. I'm tasting more of the oak now, I think, because you said it.
Yeah.
But it's not like
before. Like if you don't just pick it out as oak, like to me, it's like if you've ever gone into older like antique stores and stuff like that, sometimes it'll smell like that.
I think Richard was a bloodhound in his past life. I was watching the Aristocats the other day. He lifted his ear up. That hound did. Sounds like a motorcycle, two-wheel, front wheel squeaking. And he broke it down. Boy, I said, "Oh, fuck around, give me a hound dog, boy," because Buddy knew what was up, man. That shit had me weekend. I was like, Richard must have been a hound in his past life. Oh no, this is cracked plastic from Best Buy when you buy your first computer. You're like, what?
In 1997.
I know, man.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
So you're a fan of that one too, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like all those. Yeah.
What's the best one in here? Let me get to.
They're all different. We're done with bourbon now, so this is a peated Scotch. So this is that smoky.
You got me onto the Scotch a little bit, man.
I hope you like it.
No, the Scotch has got so much, and I think Jimmy G, you wasn't there, I don't think the other day, but he talked about even you having your profiles rooted in such complexity based on how dense and how many things go on with Scotch. That gives, I guess, leeway in a sense to describing what someone might experience when drinking great whiskey. But it comes from Scotch, which has way more depth to it than any other whiskey.
I feel like there can be a broader, wider range of flavors in Scotch. Like the analogy I always use is the Crayola box of crayons. You know what I mean? This is like the 164 box. You know, it's got all the colors, like everything. I mean, there's savory notes that I never get in certain American whiskeys that are all in here, and I think it's just because of the ultra aging, the using of casks that have already had stuff in it before, and the 100% malted barley. I just feel like it's a more of a blank canvas to take things on, and it's crazy. Like some of the stuff that you can get out of these.
Sheesh. Well, let's pour some of that. Man.
Yeah, I hope you like it. Anytime I can get someone who might not care for smoky or peated whiskey to like this, it's a win. Because most people don't care for it.
So why has Scotch got this yellowness to it?
So it depends upon what it's finished in. I think this one is done in an ex-bourbon barrel, but I'll be able to tell you in a minute. And so, like, not all Scotch does. Like, remember some of those dark ones I brought over last time? Those were finished in red wine, and so it takes on that darkerness from the red wine. But yes, I believe this is. It just says matured in a hogshead. They're not telling us expert based on the color.
Does it really say the hogshead?
Yeah, matured in a hogshead. That's the barrel shape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
and they're smaller barrels. 282 bottles.
man,
That's
that is
closer
good,
to-
dude. Can you buy this at stores?
Huh?
Can you buy this at stores?
I mean, it's a single barrel, and so
No.
No, I mean, it was bottled in 2020, so it's probably... it might be sitting there because Texans sleep on good Scotch, man. We let great Scotch sit in the...
This is good.
People will walk past this all day and buy like a Johnny Walker, and it's like...
And I think people miss
nothing
that.
wrong with Johnny Walker. I'm not knocking Johnny Walker, but...
I think people forget about that too, even when they're reading labels about how rare single barrels can be.
Yeah.
And they don't understand like the rare, because they all just came from one barrel that one time, years ago. So understanding, single barrels versus the blends, I think, is a big thing when it comes to looking at these labels too.
I'd have lost money on you today. You don't like that one, you like this one? I'd have lost big money. That's funny. But I love it though. Anytime I get someone that likes, because this was my first love.
So far, this is the best one I've tasted.
When I pour myself something like this at a family dinner and I'm sitting next to my dad, I have to put the glass on this side so he can't smell it. He hates it.
You get your nose on your pops.
He can't stand that stuff.
Bro,
It smells like mezcal.
It does smell like mezcal.
And I love it. I just love it. But yeah, I mean, most people, like if you give it to maybe 2 and 10, 2 and 10 will like it. The other 8 people will just be like, they'll spit it out and they'll make a bitter beer face doing it.
And would you say Scotches take on more of an earthier taste?
Some of them.
Or flavor profile,
They
even from the
can.
nose standpoint too?
Yeah, they can. I've had some funky bourbons that are earthy. So I hesitate to say more, like with regards to what's possible, but with regards to like how many times it's happened, I certainly get more earthy notes on Scotch than I do on bourbon.
Yeah, because I feel like bourbons and your rise offset, it just has a little more sweetness to it. Yeah, you don't see a lot of those earthy characters. It almost kind of reminds me of Old World versus New World in the wine space. Old World's everything in Europe, right? So Scotch can only come from Scotland, right?
Yep.
And then everything else is now considered New World. So America, down under, and New Zealand, etc. So you can see the two different components just from based off where they're made.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
There you have it. There you have. That's some fucking. So, what's the last one that we should try?
This is just a good rye. It's a good rye. It's the Bald and Bond one.
Let's try the rye, man.
Yeah.
I like Petey. Petey was good.
Yeah,
Petey
I'm gonna start bringing more peated stuff around now that I know you'll like it, because it's I've had some great peated Scotch. Just most people don't like it, so I leave it at home.
Let me be very clear. Everything he's poured has got different flavors, so nothing's the same. And mind you, in my mind, back in the day,
I just don't need a second. Or you can pass me one of those dump cups.
back in the day, we would just drink because we could drink. But now you go, wow. So this is a rye. What makes this one, outside of it being bottled and bond, why did you buy it?
It's Indiana. So I love those 95.5 ryes. Yeah. And there's not a whole lot of ways to get. There's not too many people doing it at Bottled and Bond. Yeah.
I like that. So we was 50% today. Two out of 4. He would have bet the wagon on the wrong ones though.
100%. He's right. That's too funny. And that's what makes the world go round, man. And that's what keeps whiskey interesting. And that's the reason the whiskey community is so great, is because someone like you would hear from 10 people that this thing's great, and you'd go out of your way to track one down, and you'd get it and be underwhelmed by it. There's a friend that you have that would kill to have this bottle, and they've got something like this. You know what I mean? And you guys just, that's how it happens.
Good old handoff.
Exactly.
Everybody.
That's how it
You
happens.
got something I want, I got something you want.
Exactly.
Let's do business, man. Well, I'll tell you this. In my opinion, I would start with bourbons if I were going to start drinking whiskey. Rye can be a little sharp and off-putting to those people that are not used to, not even spicy food, just having some type of spice there, you know? And then if you like Scotch, if you could drink Scotch, in my opinion, you could drink anything.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Like you could drink Scotch, it don't matter if it's bourbon, rye, such as a Scotch. Like he said, it's the full 148 crayons. And you open that thing up, I remember when I was a kid, open that thing, well, I got all the colors now. I'm gonna color like a motherfucker. In this case, you go, there's all the flavors. Now let's break down the rest of these bottles. So if you're building your palate, you probably start with Scotch, huh?
Yes. Yes. It's the most challenging. It's got the most going on. It would be if figuring out, these whiskeys' personality was a crime that you had to solve. The Scotch would be the one that you would need the best detective for. You know what I mean? That's kind of the way I think about it. But if you're not trying to solve a crime and you just want to drink good whiskey, a lot of people, American whiskey lives in that dessert profile. Your caramels, vanillas, chocolates, fruit. People, that's what they want to be a lot of the time, Someone doesn't want to always try like new electronics or shellfish or smoked meat or you know what I mean. Like, and that's what that's all in here. Like that's in there. So you know, some people they just finish their dinner and they want something. They want to drink their dessert. You know.
Yeah.
But,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, look, that's what I like to hear. I was recording the clip so I can put it on shorts because Richard's always he's on one. But this is how we're going to continue to exchange both whiskey and information. And mind you, I think one of the next things I'll challenge Richard to do is put together a collection list. And that, like, hey, what are the top 5 bottles that someone might buy to start the collection? I'll go buy them, and then we'll turn around and we'll break those bottles down so that people can say, oh, well, let me start here or start there. And is there a top 5 that you would recommend women trying? Because I know some men probably wish that women enjoyed whiskey with them.
Oh yeah.
And whiskey can be a little it's harsh if you're not about it. So you know, she's like, oh, I want some tequila and some vodka. You like, girl, you better drink this whiskey.
That's a win-win. Yeah, you get them on the team. Yeah. It's a win-win. We've got more whiskey money now. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? This brother's thinking about your future right now. Come back soon because not only are we going to keep it whiskey, we're just going to put whiskey to get your wife involved or your girl. Keep it whiskey, people.
Cheers.